Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Lou and Mike Show, coming to you live from the 2014 Grand Canyon State Insulator Club Yuma Tailgater and BBQ, and we are interviewing today insulator collector Francisco. And Francisco, we understand that you're going to be having an exhibit at the National this year at the Fellowship Farmington National. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you like in the hobby and what insulators are all about?
Okay, so the whole purpose for the insulator in the telegraph was to keep the tick from going into the wood so it could keep going on the glass. And then later they started using them for electric lines to insulate wires. So this is a telegraph insulator here. This is an Armstrong. And as you can see, this wire that's running through is the live wire, and it's carrying the message. And the way they tied this was wrapping this tying wire around, and it would go around and come across here to keep the wire from moving. And then it would go around again and wrap around. Now another way this could be done is on these type insulators. There could be a wire resting on top here on this slot, and then it would wrap around here and come up to keep it down, because then it would go here and then it would come through and wrap around. Also, another way it could be done was just put through, and then this would just wrap around and then just wrap around again.
Okay.
So one of the things we're talking about today is insulators, basically. That's all we're talking about. So the thing is, there's different shapes. Like this is the Hemingway 55. This that you can see, that's a different shape from the helmet right here. There were many kinds of uses of material for insulators. Some were plastic and rubber like this, and some were
well, that's cool. Let me see that again, the plastic and rubber one.
Plastic.
Show me the inside of that one. Oh, what's that wooden thing in there?
Oh, that's the part of the stick.
What does that do?
This was put on a metal pin, and it would keep, and this would actually screw into the insulator. But then it was screwed on the metal pin the same way, like with threads, like just the same as the insulator.
Cool.
And the metal pin was bolted into the cross arm, which kept it from coming out. That was in the later telegraphs, and also was in the, is still used today in electric. Some of the old pins were like this bracket here that would, if we actually were to show it here, it would put like it would bolt in with nails, and then insulator would actually be on top here screwed on.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Let me see that again.
So then the wire could run on the insulator.
Yeah.
These are kind of hard to find on poles, but if you look hard enough, you will find them. I have seen two poles that do actually have these on. One, I believe, they're the same. One is completely beat up, and we've tried to get them off. The other one is exactly like this, in perfect condition.
Excellent. Where were those?
They were in the New Mexico line. That's our theme on the telegraph. The theme is going to be the New Mexico telegraph. So they were on the New Mexican line running from Santa Fe and going forth.
You said the theme. What do you mean the theme? Theme of what?
The theme of the telegraph.
Oh,
so,
right on.
This insulator was actually pulled off the Santa Fe line. And as you can see, it's beautiful. It says Thomas here.
Let me see that. Thomas.
Right
Show
there.
Me that. Oh, look at that. Cool.
And you may be noticing the slot. And I've wondered, did they really put it on the slot? And I've also wondered, this is a very high dip here. If they were to tie that around, look how high that dip is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got a big thing. That's really high, and that could easily come off. So I've seen these on the poles with wires. They go like this, not like this. So just in case anyone was wondering about
What does that one look like inside? Let me see the bottom. Oh.
And as you can see, it's got a petticoat here.
Oh, look at that. There's no wood in there, though.
This one was found on the ground with no pins, so there was no wood in. And these two were not gotten at the show, which I don't know. I kind of put them in with the show. But
we're going to hide those? Okay.
Yeah, all these were gotten at the show today, except for this one, sorry.
What is that?
This is a spool insulator, and it's the wrong way. But these insulators there's different types. I have another one in here that was glass.
Oh, dude.
That is a perfect spool. These were used to stop the telegraph.
What is that color?
This is I'm not really sure. I think it's supposed to be clear, but I think it's a mix of carnival glass too.
Wow.
But
cool.
These are special spools. These are called dead end spools. And what they would do is they would stop the telegraph wire, and I don't know what it's called, but it looks like a bolt on the telegraph wire, and there'd be another wire going up, and it would tie onto an insulator, and then it would keep going. But this is a dead end spool, and there is more. These can still be pulled off poles today. There's still a bunch left that need to be pulled off. And those are kind of common on telegraph. So if you see one with no wire and you're able to get it down, you might try to get it.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about the embossings on here. Most of them say dead end, which they're hard to read.
Oh, embossing is the writing?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Show me.
It's kind of hard to read.
All right, let me see if I can get my camera. Just hold it still and let me see if I can get my camera to bounce. Oh, there it is. Look at that.
Dead end. And then
Does that say Rayco?
Yeah, I think that's Rayco.
Cool.
So
embossing does what? What does that tell you?
it tells you what the company was and how, and most of them tell you the company. Like it would say.
Let me see that one.
See, like the Hemingway 55 says Hemingway 55.
Dude, look at that. Let me see inside that one.
No, as you can see, there's another petticoat in there.
Oh yeah, cool. Okay, so that's the writing on them.
Yep. Some of them, like this one, don't have petticoats. it's a single skirt.
Oh, look at that.
This is actually made by the American Telephone and Telegraph Company.
Whoa, AT&T?
Yep.
Cool.
And there's a bunch of those. This one, it's broken, but I still want to talk about this one. Has embossing saying patent, and it says probably May 2nd, 1893, but it could say something else.
You have it memorized?
Yeah, I've out of most of the insulators I have, most of them that say patent say May 2nd, 1893.
Okay.
So that would say when they were made. I'm guessing that's what that was. So I'm pretty sure that was when they were made.
Cool.
So just so you see, there's threads on the bottom of the insulators mostly.
Okay, inside there, right?
Mm-hmm. And the pin actually has threads.
Threads on the wood too, okay.
Yep. So when they would put the insulator on, it actually screws in and was able to be kept on the
yeah,
so
that's
it wouldn't come off.
That's cool.
Now, some insulators, the earlier one, are called threadless, and they were actually on different pins that were just set on, and some were actually hammered into the pole.
So threadless that had no screw on it at all. It was just smooth inside?
Yep.
Wow.
This is, I'm not sure if it's a real one, but it could be a real one. It's a guide wire insulator, and what it would do is the guide wire would go through this hole, come around and tie, and then another guide wire would go through this hole and tie around, so it'd be like literally like this on the guide wire.
Seriously.
This is another insulator that was made for the telegraph by the Hemingway Glass Company. Everyone who goes to shows and who collects insulators should be familiar with that name. And these dots on the bottom are called drip points.
Let me see those.
And they were used to...
Oh, this one has them on the petticoat.
Yep.
Wow.
And these were used to shed water quicker. Okay. So when it would rain on it, it would shed it. It was supposedly to shed it quicker off the insulator to keep the pin and the wire dry. Most porcelains today have petticoats, which were also used to shed water off the pin.
Okay.
They mostly don't have drip points. Another insulator we're going to talk about today is the Mickey Mouse. As you can see, it also has drip points. This is the Hemingway 60 Mickey Mouse.
Oh, no way. It has ears, just like Mickey Mouse,
That's
obviously. Wow, look at that.
It was nicknamed by collectors that. This was used for, usually it's Chicago and Kansas, for power outages. And they would put, the wire would sit on the cable groove, and it would wrap around the same way.
Very cool.
And there's been a lot of them taken down in Chicago and Kansas. These People could be thinking, wow, that must be worth a bunch of money. It's not worth too much, but it's worth a reasonable price, $30.
So, Francisco, if you could say, what is the one thing that you like the most about the whole insulator collecting since you got started in it, what would you say? What's the coolest part about the whole hobby?
Coolest part is probably the shape. The shape is the coolest thing. Like, each insulator has a different shape to it.
Okay.
This is like that shape, this is that shape, that shape. Everyone has a different shape.
Okay.
And it's just so cool that you're going out to like shows like this.
Let's go see some.
Yeah.
Let's walk. I think your stuff will be good. We'll guard it. So show us your favorite table.
Probably my favorite table is right over here. And this table has got a lot of things, and look at all these shapes at this table. If you look at all these shapes, wow, how many shapes do you think you can count? And if you look over here, there's actually a threadless. This was put in a threadless pin. As you can see, it's smooth. And then a wood cover, this one's actually broken, would keep it protected. I'm not actually sure what they needed the glass for, but the wood cover was what the wire would wrap around. And as you can see on this side, there's a place for the wire.
So, Francisco, we're just about out of time here today. If you had one thought that you wanted to share with other collectors, if you had one thought that you wanted to share with other kids who wanted to get into the hobby, what would be your advice to those kids?
One advice would be to save your money, because if you look at these prices, there is a lot of prices that are very high, and they are worth a lot of money. So kids, if you're starting to collect interest in these, I'd start from really modern and very cheap ones to the highest ones, but you need to save your money. And also you need to make sure that you're buying the insulator at its worth price, because you could be buying it for way over what it's worth. One thing I'd recommend is getting a price guide so you know. Also, you need to start learning about insulators, and if you're going to do a show, you need to start picking hobbies. The first time you do it, it's perfectly fine. Just throw all your insulators in, but the next time and the next, you need to start picking hobbies. Like, maybe I could pick a hobby only on the Star Company insulator.
Oh, you mean to specialize in a certain kind?
Yep. Or maybe I could pick only the Carnival glass insulators.
Carnival's cool.
Maybe even insulators that only have drip points, or big insulators, or Mickey Mouse insulators, or telegraph insulators like I'm going to do, or spool insulators, and all kinds of insulators. So that's advice to get you started, and it'll go to, sometimes tables will be with great prices. So that's pretty much all for today.
Okay, man, we really appreciate your time. Again, this is Francisco from Albuquerque, and if you want to meet Francisco in person, you can meet him at the 2014 Farmington Fellowship National in Farmington, New Mexico, 4th of July week in the United States of America. Francisco, thank you again very much for your time today, and good luck in the hobby, man.
Yep.
All right, bye.